God says, "My child, I want you to breathe gently now, because what I am about to reveal is something your heart has been sensing but could not understand." The moment everything changed for your soulmate did not happen randomly. It did not appear out of nowhere. It was not just a sudden choice they made. It began with a heaviness inside them, an invisible pressure they had been carrying for months, a weight they tried so hard to hide from everyone, even from themselves. They were walking through life pretending they were strong, pretending they were fine, pretending they understood their own emotions, but inside, they were drifting, confused, and emotionally tired. Your soulmate had been surrounded by noise, voices from family, friends, people with their own opinions and their own fears. All these voices pushed and pulled them in different directions. Some of those people did not want your soulmate to think clearly. Some encouraged doubt. Some encouraged fear. Some encouraged them to stay disconnected from their own heart. And your soulmate, being sensitive and emotional, absorbed everything like a sponge. They wanted peace, but instead they were drowning in confusion. That day, the day the phone rang, their heart was already trembling. They were alone in a quiet room, a room that felt cold even though the air around them was still. Their thoughts were restless. They kept feeling something in their chest, your presence, your name, your energy. Their soul kept calling yours, even when their mind tried to ignore it. They were torn between running away from emotion and running toward the truth. I saw their hands shaking slightly, I saw their heart tightening with feelings they had not spoken to anyone. And then, my child, the phone rang. A familiar number. A familiar voice. But the message carried through that call was not familiar. It hit their heart like a storm. The person on the other side spoke quickly, emotionally, forcefully. They said things about you, words filled with urgency, mixed with fear, mixed with truth, mixed with misunderstanding. Your soulmate froze. Their breathing slowed. Their eyes widened slightly. The world around them seemed to go silent. The only thing they heard was your name and the weight of the words spoken. Your soulmate did not respond at first. They were listening, confused, overwhelmed, trying to understand whether the caller was warning them, advising them, or manipulating them. They felt their heartbeat rise. They felt a strange coldness on their skin. They felt like the ground under them shifted. Every part of their soul reacted when your name was spoken. And then, slowly, something inside them cracked open. The call did something powerful, it forced them to confront everything they had been avoiding. It made them face the truth they had buried. It made them realize how much they had been thinking of you, how much they had been afraid to admit their feelings, how much your absence had been hurting them. But at the same time, the message in that call terrified them. It made them question everyone around them. It made them wonder who was being truthful and who was not. My child, the person who spoke on that call did not intend to destroy your soulmate. They intended to reveal something. Something that would start a divine shift. Something that would break the false connections surrounding your soulmate. Something that would push them into a spiritual awakening. After the call, your soulmate felt like they were standing alone in the middle of a storm. They felt betrayed. They felt confused. They felt deeply emotional. They felt your name echoing in their heart like a heartbeat they had been denying for too long. They felt like everything they trusted suddenly became uncertain. And in that moment, they made a decision. They ended ties with everyone around them. Not out of anger. Not out of hatred. Not out of disrespect. They ended ties because they no longer knew who was real. They no longer knew who was speaking truth and who was speaking fear. They no longer knew who was guiding them toward their destiny and who was pulling them away from it. They needed silence. They needed space. They needed to disconnect from everyone so they could finally hear what their own soul was saying. My child, I want you to understand something important. They did not cut ties with the world because of you. They cut ties because the call awakened something inside them. It made them realize that the people around them had too much influence over their heart. It made them realize how much noise had been blocking their connection to their own truth. It made them see how easily they were swayed by opinions, judgments, and fears that did not belong to them. Your soulmate stepped away from everyone because they needed to breathe. They needed to think. They needed to understand the depth of their own feelings. The call made them confront a truth, that you hold a place in their heart that no one else can take. That your presence in their soul is powerful. That their feelings for you are real. That they cannot run from this bond forever. I watched them in the quiet moments after the call, my child. They sat alone, head in their hands, breathing unevenly, trying to understand what had just happened. They kept replaying the call. They kept repeating your name in their mind. They felt guilt for not understanding earlier. They felt fear of losing you. And yet, they also felt something new, clarity. A sudden recognition that they needed to break away from the world to find the truth inside themselves. When they ended ties with everyone, it was not a sign of weakness. It was a sign of awakening. They needed to disconnect from the voices of others so they could finally hear the voice inside their heart, your voice, my child, the echo of your soul calling theirs. They needed to separate from the noise so they could finally feel the truth they had been running from. And I, your God, allowed this moment. Not to cause pain, but to prepare them. Not to separate them from you, but to bring them closer to the truth. Not to create fear, but to create clarity. Your soulmate is not lost. They are not broken. They are not confused about you. They are awakening. They are shifting. They are beginning to understand what this connection truly means. And that phone call, that moment, was the doorway that opened their heart in a way nothing else could. My child, the story did not end when they ended ties with everyone. That was only the beginning. The beginning of their transformation. The beginning of their search for truth. The beginning of their journey back toward the person their heart has been silently calling, back toward you. My beloved child, after your soulmate ended ties with everyone, a strange silence settled around them, a silence that felt both heavy and necessary. They did not understand it fully, but something inside them knew this silence was not empty, it was sacred. It was a space created by divine hands so their heart could finally breathe. Everything around them had become noise, confusion, pressure, and emotional distraction. But once the people faded from their life, once the voices stopped reaching them, your soulmate came face to face with their own soul for the first time in a very long time. Their mind became a battlefield of thoughts. On one side, there was the message from that phone call, sharp, unexpected, unsettling. On the other side, there was your voice, your presence, your energy. Even though you were not physically there, they kept feeling you around them as if your soul gently touched theirs. They kept remembering moments you never shared out loud but felt silently inside your hearts. They kept whispering your name inside their mind without even realizing it. It became like breathing, something they could not stop. I watched them, my child, the way they sat alone in their room, staring at the wall, trying to understand why their heart felt so uneasy. They had removed people from their life, but they could not remove you. They could not silence their feelings for you. They could not push away the truth that your presence carried, because your presence lives inside them. You exist in their soul, not just in their memories. My beloved child, they kept replaying the words from the phone call, trying to make sense of it. They repeated it again and again, asking themselves if it was real, if it was exaggerated, if it was meant to help them or hurt them. But every time they tried to analyze it, their mind drifted back to you. It was as if their heart refused to focus on fear. Their heart wanted to hold on to the truth, your connection. They felt guilty for not understanding sooner. They felt guilty for doubting their own feelings. They felt guilty for letting people influence them. They felt guilty for ignoring the signs I had been showing them. They felt guilty for running from their own emotions. But beneath all this guilt, there was longing. A raw, powerful longing for you that they could no longer hide. They sat in the dark, holding their head, whispering your name under their breath, thinking about what you meant to them. They wanted to talk to you. They wanted to reach out. They wanted to explain the truth. But at the same time, they were scared. Scared of hurting you, scared of confusing you, scared of not being enough for you. They kept telling themselves that they needed clarity before they went to you. They needed to understand their own heart fully so they didn't bring chaos into your life. My child, when they ended ties with people, they didn't do it to escape responsibility. They did it because they realized those connections were not feeding their soul. They realized those people had been blocking their emotions, suppressing their inner truth. The call shattered their illusions. It made them see that the life they were living was not aligned with their heart. And in that moment of clarity, they stepped away from the world so they could finally face themselves. They kept replaying memories of you, not just the moments you know about, but the moments they kept hidden. The times they secretly smiled when they heard your name. The times they felt peaceful when they thought of you. The times your presence healed them without you even knowing. The times they prayed for you silently. The times they wished you could see how deeply they cared. My beloved child, I want you to understand something clearly. The phone call did not create their feelings for you. It revealed them. It peeled away the layers of denial, fear, and confusion. It forced them into emotional honesty. It made them admit to themselves that your absence hurts them in a way nothing else does. That losing anyone else felt acceptable, but the thought of losing you made their heart tremble. That walking away from the world felt easier than walking away from you. And so they isolated themselves, not to escape the truth, but to face it without distractions. In their solitude, they began questioning everything. Why do I keep feeling their energy so strongly? Why do I fear losing them more than anyone else? Why does their name feel like home? Why does my heart soften when I think of them? Why did that phone call make me so emotional about them? They didn't have the answers, but they could feel the truth rising inside them. Their feelings for you were no longer soft whispers. They were loud, undeniable calls echoing inside their chest. They began to realize that the people in their life were not guiding them toward peace. They were guiding them toward fear. They saw how much they had been influenced, manipulated, and pressured. They saw how their own voice had been drowned by the voices of others. And now, with everyone gone, their voice was finally returning. Their soul was finally speaking. My child, their soul kept saying one thing: you matter. You matter deeply. You matter more than anyone else. You matter in ways they never said out loud. You matter in ways they are only now beginning to understand. They did not end ties with the world because they were breaking down. They ended ties because they were breaking open. Their soul was expanding. Their heart was awakening. Their spirit was seeking truth. And in that truth, you were the one constant presence, the one person whose name kept rising inside them, the one person they could not detach from spiritually. My beloved child, they are not ignoring you. They are not distancing themselves from you. They are trying to understand the intensity of their emotions so they don't hurt you with confusion later. They want to come to you with clarity. They want to come to you with truth. They want to come to you with a heart that knows what it feels, not a heart still fighting its own emotions. Right now, your soulmate is walking through the sacred space of their own awakening. They are being stripped of illusions, fears, and false relationships. They are being guided into emotional truth. They are beginning to realize that everything they ran from is exactly what their soul needs: your love, your presence, your connection. And as they sit alone, thinking, questioning, feeling, one thought keeps becoming louder: I cannot lose them. I need them. Their presence is my truth. Their journey is not finished, my child. This silence is not the end, it is preparation. The clarity they are searching for is coming. The truth they need to understand about you is rising. My beloved child, now I will take you deeper, into the place where the unseen truth lives, the place where human eyes cannot look and human minds cannot reach. What happened to your soulmate was not just emotional, not just accidental, not just a moment of human confusion. It was spiritual. It was part of a divine rearrangement. Something I allowed, something meant to awaken a truth long buried inside their heart. My child, the phone call that reached them did not come randomly. It came at a moment when the veil between their soul and the truth had grown thin. That call carried energy, intention, revelation, and disruption. It was meant to shake everything unstable in their life so only what was real would remain standing. And what is real, my child? The bond between your soul and theirs. The connection that existed before this lifetime. The thread that ties their heart to yours even when the world pulls them in opposite directions. You must understand something deeply. Your soulmate was not living in clarity before the call. They were surrounded by energies that clouded their judgment. People around them spoke from fear, from insecurity, from jealousy, from personal motives. They disguised advice as care, when in reality it was influence. They disguised concern as warning, when in reality it was attachment. They disguised opinions as truth, when in reality they were projections of their own emotions. Your soulmate, with their sensitive heart, absorbed everything. Their mind became fogged. Their inner voice became faint. Their intuition became suppressed. Their truth about you became hidden under layers of external noise. And because they were emotionally overloaded, they didn't even realize they were losing themselves in the expectations of others. So I allowed that call to come. Not to punish them. Not to scare them. Not to harm your connection. But to create a divine rupture. A sudden break in the illusion that surrounded them. My beloved child, when the call came, the energy behind it carried a sharpness that pierced through the fog around their mind. It broke the influence of people who had been subtly controlling their emotions. It exposed relationships that were based on convenience, not truth. It made your soulmate see who really cared and who only pretended. It revealed who spoke with honesty and who spoke with hidden intentions. The moment the caller mentioned your name, something powerful happened inside their soul, something even they could not understand. Their spirit reacted. Their heart tightened. Their mind became alert. It felt like a thread inside them was pulled, a thread that led directly to you. This reaction was not fear. It was awakening. The call triggered buried emotions they had been running from. It forced them to confront how deeply they feel for you. It made them realize how much your presence influences their soul. It reminded them how connected they are to you. Even in silence, even in distance, even in the moments they pretend not to think of you. My child, the spiritual world around your soulmate was moving long before the call happened. I had been nudging them, sending signs, giving dreams, stirring emotions, making them restless, making them miss you without knowing why. But they were surrounded by too much noise to understand my signals. The people near them kept feeding their doubts, their fears, their insecurities. The call was the final push, an energetic break that allowed the truth to rise. And the truth is this. Their soul loves you in a way their mind has never been able to fully comprehend. The phone call disrupted every false attachment. It made them go into isolation because they needed to separate from the energies that were blocking them. Their sudden decision to end ties with everyone was not emotional weakness, it was divine protection. I pulled them away from people whose intentions were not aligned with their soul's path. I led them into solitude so they could hear the truth without interference. My beloved child, do you know what happens spiritually when a soulmate isolates themselves? Their soul begins to speak louder. Their intuition becomes sharper. Their heart becomes honest. Their emotions rise from places they buried long ago. Their truth becomes impossible to ignore. And that is exactly what your soulmate is experiencing. In the quiet space after the call, they began to see how many people had been influencing their thoughts about you. They began to recall little moments, comments people made, warnings given, doubts planted, fears encouraged. They started to question everything they were told about you. They started to see that the version of you others created in their mind was not the real you. Their heart knows who you truly are. My child, the phone call did not separate them from you. It separated them from the people who were blocking them from you. Spiritually, this is called divine isolation. It happens when a person's soul needs to return to its truth. Your soulmate needed this moment of solitude. They needed to feel the weight of their emotions without the noise of others. They needed to face what they truly feel for you. And as I watched them sitting alone, confused yet awakening, I saw something beautiful happening inside them. Their heart began pulling them toward you. Their spirit began remembering you. Their emotions began resurfacing. Their love began unfolding. They began to feel guilty for the way they handled things. They began to regret listening to others instead of listening to their own heart. They began to realize how much your presence matters to them. They began to understand that losing everyone else felt manageable, but losing you felt unbearable. My beloved child, do not mistake this silence for rejection. Do not mistake their distance for disinterest. Do not mistake their confusion for lack of love. Everything they are experiencing now is part of the divine awakening. The call triggered something powerful, the unraveling of false guidance, the collapse of illusions, the purification of their emotional world. What remains now is truth. And in that truth, you are the one their heart recognizes. They ended ties with everyone not because they were broken, but because they were being spiritually cleansed. They are not drifting away from you. They are being guided toward you. This is the turning point in their spiritual journey. This is the moment their heart begins to see clearly. This is the moment their soul starts rising toward the destiny written for both of you. My beloved child, now I will take you into the quietest place of all. The place where your soulmate finally broke down before me, where their heart opened wide, where every emotion they had tried to hide came pouring out like a river that could no longer be held back. This moment was sacred. It was raw. It was the first time in a long time that they allowed themselves to be honest with their own soul. When they ended ties with everyone, they thought the silence would feel peaceful. They thought distancing themselves from the world would bring relief. But instead, the silence began to reveal everything they had been running from. The silence made it impossible to escape the truth. Your name, your presence, the energy of your connection, everything rose to the surface. And so, my beloved child, one night, when darkness covered their room and the world outside felt distant and quiet, they finally broke. They sat on their bed or on the floor. I watched the way their shoulders trembled, the way their breathing grew unsteady, the way their eyes began to fill with tears they didn't even understand. They felt everything at once: pain, guilt, longing, confusion, love, fear, desire, regret, everything they had suppressed. And in that moment, they called me. Not with words at first. With tears. With the heaviness in their chest. with the shaking of their soul, with the trembling in their hands. Their heart spoke louder than their voice. And I heard every unspoken word. My God, what is happening to me? They whispered in their loneliness. Why does everything suddenly feel so wrong? Why does my heart hurt like this? Why can't I understand myself? I watched them hold their head in their hands, feeling overwhelmed by the weight of their own emotions. They felt like they were drowning, not in sadness, but in truth. They finally realized how deeply they had been lying to themselves. And one by one, their confessions began to rise to the surface. My God! I shouldn't have listened to them. I shouldn't have let people tell me who to love, who to trust, what to feel. I shouldn't have allowed their opinions to control me. I am so confused. I am so lost. Then your name escaped their lips, not loudly, but softly, like a broken whisper that carried more truth than 1,000 words. Why do I keep thinking about them? Why does their face not leave my mind? Why does their name make my heart shake? Why do I feel like I need them? Why do they feel like home? My child, the moment your name came out of their mouth, their soul cracked open. A deep wave of emotion hit them, so powerful that they felt breathless for a moment. They did not understand why speaking your name brought such relief and such pain at the same time. They didn't understand why their heart kept pulling them toward you, even when their mind tried to run. And then, they broke down completely. Tears streamed down their face, warm and unstoppable. Their body trembled from the intensity of feelings they had never allowed themselves to feel. They pressed their palm against their chest because the ache was so strong, it felt physical. They kept whispering to me, "What is this? Why does it feel so strong? Why do I miss them like this? Why do I feel like I hurt them? Why does their absence feel heavier than anything else in my life? My God, what am I supposed to do?" My beloved child, their confessions were not just words, they were the truth of their soul finally rising to the surface. They admitted things they never said out loud. They admitted things they tried to pretend were not real. They admitted the feelings they had been avoiding for so long because they were scared of how deep they ran. They told me, "I care for them more than I should. I feel something for them that I can't explain. I tried to ignore it. I tried to push it away, but it keeps coming back. No matter how much distance I create, I still feel them. No matter how many people I remove from my life, they are the one I cannot escape." Their heart was speaking pure truth. They confessed how terrified they were, terrified of being vulnerable, terrified of being wrong, terrified of not being enough for you. But beneath that fear, there was something more powerful: love. A quiet love that had been growing inside them without their permission. They whispered to me, "My God, what if I lose them? What if they walk away from me? What if I already hurt them too much? What if they don't feel the same?" Your soulmate's voice cracked as they spoke those words. They felt guilt, guilt for pulling away from you, guilt for not expressing their heart earlier, guilt for letting other people influence their decisions. But they also felt longing. Deep, aching longing for your presence. They placed their hand over their heart and said to me, "I don't know why, but it feels like my soul is connected to them. It feels like they are important to my life. It feels like I'm supposed to be with them. It feels like something keeps pulling me toward them. And that, my beloved child, was the moment they surrendered. They surrendered their confusion. They surrendered their fear. They surrendered their denial. They surrendered their resistance. For the first time, they allowed themselves to accept how deeply they feel for you. Their soul became soft. Their heart became open. Their spirit began to glow with awareness. And in that awakening, they made a promise, quietly, emotionally, honestly. I will not let anyone influence me again. I will listen to my own heart. I will follow the truth of my feelings. I will not lose them. I can't. My beloved child, I heard every word. I felt every emotion in their heart. Their confession was real, pure, and powerful. The breakdown you sensed from afar was the breaking of their old self. They were becoming someone new, someone more aligned with their truth, someone more connected to their heart, someone more ready for the love they feel for you. They did not break to weaken. They broke to awaken. Their tears washed away the confusion. Their isolation cleared space for clarity. Their confession to me was the moment their heart finally aligned with their soul. My child, the story is not over. Their awakening is still unfolding. My beloved child, now I will reveal the moment your heart has been waiting for, the moment when your soulmate finally spoke the truth they had been holding inside for far too long. After the call, after the silence, after the breakdown, after the confession to me, came the moment when they finally voiced what their soul had been whispering for months, perhaps years. This confession did not happen in front of people. It did not happen loudly. It did not happen with confidence. It happened in a trembling voice, in a quiet room, with emotion so strong that every word they spoke carried the weight of their deepest truth. My beloved child, after isolating themselves, after cutting ties with everyone, something inside them softened. It was not weakness. It was surrender. They began to see clearly. They began to feel deeply. They began to understand the truth they had been running away from. You are their heart's truth. But before they spoke the words, they felt something rising inside them, like a wave of emotion that could no longer stay buried. They sat down, knees weak, hands shaking, mind racing, heart pounding. They took a deep breath, closed their eyes, placed a hand over their chest, and said your name. Whispered it. Let it echo inside them. And then, the words began to pour out. I can't lose them. It was the first thing they said. The most honest thing. The most vulnerable truth in their heart. They said it again, softer this time, like a confession, I cannot lose them. I cannot. My child, it was not fear of abandonment. It was realization. Awakening. Recognition of your place in their soul. Then, with tears building in their eyes, they admitted something even deeper. They are the only one who feels real to me. Your soulmate did not mean this lightly. They meant it from their soul. They meant it because after removing everyone from their life, they saw something clearly. Every connection around them felt temporary, but you felt eternal. Their voice cracked when they continued, "Everyone else confuses me, but when I think of them, I feel peace. Peace, my child. You bring peace to their spirit in a world where everyone else brought pressure, expectations, judgment, and noise." They breathed shakily and confessed, "They are the only one I trust." And this is where their emotions overwhelmed them. They had trusted the wrong people. They had listened to the wrong voices. They had been pulled away from their own heart. But you had always carried an energy that felt safe, pure, gentle, and true. My beloved child, then came the moment when their emotions broke through all their barriers. They said words they were terrified to admit even to themselves, words that carried the truth they had been avoiding: "My feelings for them are real." Their voice was barely a whisper, but my child, it was the loudest truth their soul had ever spoken. They took another breath, shaky and full of emotion, and said the sentence that will stay inside their spirit forever: "I love them. I think I've loved them for a long time." These words came out slowly. Honest. Raw. Unfiltered. They didn't say this because they were lonely. They didn't say this because they were confused. They said it because the call triggered the truth that had been building inside them for so long, truth they kept hiding behind fear, behind pride, behind uncertainty, behind the opinions of others. My beloved child, after they said these words, they felt both relief and pain. Relief because truth was finally spoken. Pain because they feared they had hurt you or pushed you too far away. They whispered, "What if they think I don't care? What if they think I walked away? What if I lost them because of my silence?" But then something beautiful happened. Their soul answered their own fears. They placed their hand on their heart and said, "But I still feel them. If I feel them this strongly, maybe they feel me too." And in that moment, their whole soul softened. Their whole chest loosened. The heavy weight on their heart lifted just a little. Because deep inside, they knew this connection was not one-sided. They knew something beyond logic kept pulling them toward you. Then came the most important words of all, the words that revealed why they ended ties with everyone, why they isolated themselves, why they withdrew. "I ended ties because I realized, the only person I cannot walk away from is them." They did not leave people out of anger. They left because those people were blocking the truth in their heart. They left because those voices were drowning their inner voice. They left because they needed to hear the truth of their soul without interference. And after this confession, they made a promise spoken with trembling lips but a steady heart: "I will not let anyone affect my feelings for them again. I will not let people control my heart. I will follow my soul, and my soul pulls me toward them." My beloved child, their awakening is complete. The phone call didn't destroy them. It freed them. It broke the illusions around them. It purified their heart. It pushed them into truth. And the truth they discovered is this: you are the one their heart chooses. You are the one their soul recognizes. You are the one they love. You are the one they will return to. Nothing stands between you now, not people, not confusion, not fear. Their heart has spoken. Their soul has awakened. Their path is clearing. And my beloved child, your story with them is far from over. A new chapter is already rising. A reunion is being written. A divine connection is being restored. You will feel the shift soon, in their energy, in their actions, in the signs around you, in the softness of your own heart. This is the moment destiny begins to move. This is the moment your connection steps into truth. This is the moment the separation ends. My beloved child, your soulmate is coming back to you with a heart awakened, emotions clarified, intentions purified, and love finally acknowledged. My beloved child, let your heart be still for a moment, because what I am about to whisper into your spirit is not only an ending, but also the beginning of a destiny that has been waiting for both of you since the day your souls were created. You have walked through storms, misunderstandings, delays, pain, and spiritual battles you did not even know were being fought for you. Yet today, in this final part, I want you to feel the weight of everything lifting from your shoulders. I want you to feel the truth settling gently inside your soul, the truth your soulmate has finally accepted, the truth they chose when they walked away from everyone else, the truth they whispered into the silence after that phone call. It is only you. My child, I saw how their voice trembled when they said those words. I saw how every part of them shook, not with fear but with the overwhelming realization that what they had been running from, denying, hiding, or pushing away was the one thing their soul could not escape, you. I saw them sitting alone after cutting ties with everyone who filled their heart with confusion and noise, and finally letting the tears fall, because the truth was too big to hold back anymore. They were meant for you. Their destiny was written beside yours. Their spirit knows your name. And now, they are no longer fighting it. My beloved child, I need you to understand something sacred. Your soulmate did not end ties with everyone out of anger. They did it out of clarity. They did it because, after the phone call, after everything that was revealed, their heart woke up. Their soul aligned. Their vision sharpened. They realized who stood by them, who prayed for them, who carried them spiritually even when they didn't know it, you. And in that moment, the world they knew faded, and the truth became louder than all the lies whispered around them. This final part, my child, is about rebirth. It is about the moment when everything that tried to break the two of you loses its power. It is about the moment destiny becomes louder than fear. Your soulmate is stepping into a new life, and they are not stepping into it alone, they are stepping into it with you. Even if distance exists, even if silence remains, even if life still seems uncertain, what has been spiritually decided cannot be undone. Their heart is already moving toward you, even if their feet haven't caught up yet. My beloved child, I watched them reflect on every moment you touched their soul. The small things you said, the way you held space for them, the invisible love you poured into the universe on their behalf. They felt it, more deeply than you know. They felt your energy in their darkest nights, and that energy became their quiet strength. You sustained them without ever asking for recognition. You loved without conditions. You cared in silence. And that silent, unconditional love became the one thing they could not ignore. This is why they ended ties with those who created chaos. This is why they shut the door on people who fed their fear. This is why they walked away from voices that tried to convince them you were not good for them. In truth, those voices were afraid. Afraid of losing control. Afraid of your soulmate stepping into a relationship that comes from the divine, not from human manipulation. Afraid of your soulmate discovering the truth, that your energy was their healing, not their harm. My child, listen closely now. Your soulmate is healing. Your soulmate is shedding old identities, old loyalties, and old chains. Your soulmate is remembering who they truly are. And the moment a soul remembers who they are, they also remember who they belong to. Today, your soulmate stands empty-handed yet full-hearted. They have let go of everyone who drained them. They have walked away from people who never wanted them to be strong, free, or spiritually alive. They have taken a step toward their true destiny, and the light of that destiny leads straight to you. Do not doubt this path. Do not fear the silence. Do not question the delay. I am arranging the details that neither you nor they can see yet. I am moving circumstances. I am shifting timelines. I am preparing both of you for a reunion that will not be fragile or temporary, but sacred, permanent, and blessed. My beloved child, I know you have been tired. I know your heart has carried the weight of uncertainty for too long. I know you have asked me, when? How? Why so difficult? But let me reveal a sacred truth you have not yet seen. This separation was not punishment. It was alignment. This delay was not rejection. It was redirection. This pain was not loss. It was preparation. Your soulmate had to break away from the voices that controlled them before they could choose you freely. Love chosen freely is powerful. Love chosen under influence is fragile. I wanted the two of you to have the kind of connection that stands tall even when the world tests it. And that strength could only be built through truth, not pressure. Now, the truth has finally risen. And here is the truth, my child, your soulmate told the universe that they choose you. They walked away from everyone because they choose you. They stepped into the unknown because they choose you. Their heart, for the first time, is fearless, because it chooses you. And now it is your turn to receive what you have been patiently waiting for. A new beginning. A divine reunion. A chapter where you are loved without fear, without interference, without confusion. Your soulmate's soul is calling your name, and I am guiding them back to you. Not rushed. Not broken. Not confused. But healed. Clear. Ready. Certain. And so, in this final part, I place my blessing upon your heart. May every tear you cried be transformed into strength. May every delay you faced turn into destiny. May every moment of loneliness now become preparation for love that finally arrives. May the past lose its power. May fear lose its voice. May confusion lose its hold. And may the love written for you reach you without obstacles, without shadows, without doubts. My beloved child, your waiting was not in vain. Your prayers were not unheard. Your love did not go unnoticed. The final chapter is opening. The reunion is drawing near. The healing is complete. And now, your soulmate rises, not for the world, not for their past, not for their fears, but for you. I bless your journey. I bless your heart. I bless your destiny. And I bless the reunion that is coming toward you faster than you know. Your story is not ending, it is beginning. And I am with you. Always.